Hello, everybody. This is Napa Fan here, and welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we are ready to qualify for the 17th race of 21 this season in the NOFSRL Cup Series, season number 10, for the Raised Dies and Tubing 400 tomorrow on AG the channel. And it's going to be an interesting race, no doubt about it, especially now that the championship battle has kind of turned over on its head a little bit after the Watkins Glen race, and of course, with the shortening of the schedule this season, it will definitely make for an interesting championship battle in these final few races. But either way, excited to be here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for this year's Raised Dies and Tubing 400, one of the biggest races of the season for these guys. Winning in Indianapolis, a pretty big deal. It's always a great race here. And unlike real life this weekend on the road course, we are still on the oval, and even though this is the last season of the NOFSRL Cup Series, plan to use this track for future projects here on AG, the channel. So, should have a good one tomorrow for 32 laps. Right now we're qualifying the full field for 10 minutes here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The two uncharted drivers, the top two finishers in the Turkey Hill National Series race at Watkins Glen last week, Marty Johnson and Landon Smith Jr. Marty Johnson in the 52, and Landon Smith Jr. driving for Buck Racing in the number 2 machine here today. Should be an interesting race, and after what we saw last week at Watkins Glen, Daniel McMillan breaking one of the longest losing streaks we have seen in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Mason Brown has an issue in the 83 machine. But Daniel McMillan winning that race at Watkins Glen, breaking a very long losing streak in this series. It had been over 3 years, and even though we haven't been consistent this season with when we've gotten these races up, at least up until June, we were still consistent, and at that point it had already been 3 years, so almost 3.5 years since he last won in this series. 2018, the last time he had won in the Cup Series, and grabbed that race victory at the Watkins Glen International. Definitely intriguing to see what he can do with that good run, because he does come into this race only 61 points behind with 5 races left in the season, so he has a great opportunity at possibly winning this championship. But the driver who holds the points lead is Jesse Turner in the number 77, the first ever winner in the NOFSRL Cup Series all the way back in 2015, quite a long ways ago. And he comes in with a 24-point lead after finishing runner-up at Watkins Glen. By far his best finish at that racetrack in his career. And he's now coming to a place where he has had relative success in the NOFSRL Cup Series. He's finished runner-up in this race twice before, including last year when he finished runner-up to Bradley Ream, who drove the 40 last year. And that 40 machine now driven by Gatlin Downey. We'll have to see if it has any speed here today. And Mason Brown, big issue on the 83. He's still yet to kind of get out there, but he still has enough time to get a new car and get back out there on the racetrack. Herigel Arvin Alonso goes to the top of the board, and so far Alonso is the only driver who has won, or sorry, it's been so long, I forgot Ace Garcia won at Chicagoland, but he's only one of 2 drivers who have won multiple races this season, Alonso and Ace Garcia. However, neither of them are really up there in the points at this point, so we will have to see if they can possibly move themselves up in the point standings, but it's kind of been a win or bust for these guys this season. But Alonso, definitely a driver who would love to get a race victory here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and possibly have a shot at this championship later on down the road. Eli Bright to second, and Indiana native Nathan Stapleton up to third. And Stapleton's another guy who had an excellent run at the Watkins Glen International last week. Zachary Fitzwater has just gone to the top of the board, and Fitzwater has had a miserable season even though he did win the Daytona 500 back in February. We'll have to see what Fitzwater can do in this one, especially if he starts up front for this race. Alonso's second right there, and then you have Eli Bright. Now you got Andrew Miller to the top of the board in the number 24. The All-Star Race winner looking rather sporty in the number 24 machine for Zidell Motorsports. A great run for him right there. And Daniel McMillan has just gone to third. How about that for the New York native? Obviously got that race victory last week, and a huge step in his career with only 6 races remaining in the series. Going out there and getting at least one last win. Definitely a huge moment for McMillan, no doubt about it. And now looking to ride that momentum fairly strong, getting in the Brandon Nelson there a little bit. Shane Lake has just gone the second. Christopher Alphaby has now overtaken him, and now you also have Ryan Durrani moving himself inside the top 5 as he goes into the 4th position. A good run there for Durrani, who himself has never won here in the NOFSRL Cup Series after 2 seasons of competition. Jesse Turner is 19th. That's not a bad spot at all. On the inside lane, he could very well find himself up front in tomorrow's race if he can stick on that inside lane. He just fell back to 21st as a couple of other guys moved themselves up front. Not Matt Daly. Matt Daly used to drive the 79 a couple of years ago. That's still Daniel McMillan. It's been a while. I'm still getting used to everything here. Again, I gotta remember I gotta remember everything, of course, but I gotta remember everything because it's been a while since I've done it all, and I'm still getting used to who's in what car. I had it down when I did Chicagoland, and then I didn't do anything for well over a month and a half, and then I had to remember it all again. Definitely some new faces up there. Brock Nelson up to 4th right there. Sebastian Kukulon in 5th. Great run for Kukulon. And we'll have to see how well Kukulon can do in this race, because he's one of those guys who's in championship contention as well, only 57 points behind. Won at Darlington, the first Darlington race. He will actually go back to Darlington this season with the Southern 500. Going to be the penultimate race of the season, leading into the finale at Homestead. Kukulon there in 5th. This is Andrew Miller, still the fastest driver here in Indianapolis qualifying. The number 6 machine, driven by Christopher Alphaby. The 15 machine of Shane Lake, Brock Nelson, Sebastian Kukulon, Ryan Durrani, Zachary Fitzwater, Mason Brown, Nathan Stapleton, and Daniel McMillan. And Turner has fallen back to 26, our points leader right there. And the former points leader of Keegan Thompson is actually ahead of him, currently in the leaderboard. Good run there for Keegan Thompson in the number 82. Now up to 16th, improved his time once again, so Thompson looking to possibly have a shot at this championship. He has been the points leader majority of the season, lost it last week at Watkins Glen after he had a dismal run at the Glen. But looking to close back in on Jesse Turner for this championship. It could be very interesting between those two guys. I just don't know if Brett Sears going to have anything. We really haven't seen much of him this season, but he's been hanging in there. He's 12th quickest right now on that number 12 machine for Buck Racing. Probably one of the quietest drivers this season, but he's sitting 3rd in points. LJ Cemento's another guy who's kind of had a really quiet but good season. That number 66 machine, North State Racing. Definitely would watch out for the Cheerwine machine right there. And then, of course, Kukulon, definitely a solid driver, a past Turkey Hill Series champion. Logan Williams has been an excellent rookie this season. Won, I do believe, at Kansas back in May. Or actually, that was back in April officially, but Logan Williams definitely one of those guys to watch out for. And Daniel McMillan, I think kind of the late bloomer here, but McMillan is definitely got to watch out for, especially if he starts inside the top 10 for this race, which it looks like he will. McMillan will definitely have a huge opportunity at this championship. And not only McMillan, but even Daly is kind of up there as well. That whole Otter Island team has been exceptionally strong this season. So I have to see if Turner may possibly advance his time a little bit here. If he gets enough of a draft on these guys ahead of him on this lap, we could see him possibly move inside that top 10. And, you know, while it is officially counted as an intermediate track in NOFSRL Cup Series standards, it is still super speedway by a lot of other standards, and the long straightaways will definitely produce a good pool. And that number 77 getting a pull there on Cody Sill. We will have to see if that helps him gain some speed down the back stretch and down the front stretch and possibly have an opportunity at advancing his time. We're going to see if that is the case. If this was IndyCar, he would definitely advance his time, but the draft is way more significant in those machines than it is here in the Cup cars. He did close into this pack quite a bit, but I don't know if he's going to get enough of a pull here on these guys to have a shot at advancing his time. And it does not appear that he will, so tire wear probably too significant at this point for him to advance any further. So that more than likely means that the number 24 of Andrew Miller is going to start on the pole here at Indianapolis. I actually, I was an idiot and I didn't pull the points up on my screen to see where everyone else was in points. I only got the top 7 written down here, but Miller's been a guy who's kind of waited in the wings for a race victory. I mean, the last 2 Rockingham winners were Daniel McMillan and Andrew Miller, not including this season with Alonso. Alonso broke his, well, he didn't really break much of a losing streak, but he did break the Rockingham curse, per se, because he won the Coke 600 shortly after he won Rockingham this year. And McMillan finally broke his Rockingham curse after 3 years by winning at Watkins Glen. Andrew Miller last won Rockingham in season number 9. It's been since he's won a points-paying race. And then Brad Stover's the other guy who's had a long losing streak from a Rockingham race victory. So we will have to see if Andrew Miller could possibly get his first win of the season here in the NOFSRL Cup Series officially. Of course, like I said, he won the All-Star race, but they're not an official points-paying win. This one is, and definitely could throw a bit of shade into the championship. Time's going to run out here very soon, I do believe. Andrew Miller, number 24 machine, looking to start on the pole for the Rays Dies and Tubing 400 here in Indianapolis. We got 30 more seconds on the clock. We'll start alongside Christopher Alphaby in the number 6 machine. Another driver we really haven't seen that much of this season. Had a really tough beginning to his season. But he's going to be starting in front. His teammate not going to be too far behind him. As a matter of fact, going to be right behind him. Brock Nelson in the 51. Shane Lake will be starting 3rd. Sebastian Kukulon, Ryan Durrani, Zachary Fitzwater. Mason Brown did get out there and get a good lap in. He's going to be 8th. And Nathan Stapleton, Daniel McMillan, the top 10. Gatlin Downey, Brett Sierra. Joe Rutkowski back in there as well. Alexander O, Brad Stover, Keegan Thompson, Alonzo, Bright, Barrett, and Young in the top 20. And you see Jesse Turner, our points leader, they're starting in the 26th position for tomorrow's race. We do have a couple of ties out here. We got Nathan Smith and Matt Dalio. I think Dalio has it on Nathan Smith. I'm pretty sure, but like I said, I was an idiot and forgot to open up the points before I started recording this. That is the only tie, though, so I do believe Dalio has it on Nathan Smith. Outside of that, I believe we're going to be good to go for tomorrow's Rays Dies and Tubing 400 here from Indianapolis. A 32-lap event here around the Brickyard. Should be a good one. And we're looking forward to seeing how it all plays out here in the NOFSRL Cup Series. Only 5 races remaining in the series. And Andrew Miller looking to get one last victory here in this series. We'll have to see how it all goes down tomorrow for 32 laps at Indianapolis on AG the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Andrew Miller for winning the pole, and I will see you guys later.